We have exclusive video from the Big E's opening night. Join us at the VIP party to see the big cake reveal, made by the staff of East Longmeadow's Peach Sweets. Plus, a look at the East Longmeadow 9/11 visual. From beautiful donations to guest speakers, we remember and honor those who lost their lives that day. And later, a lengthy agenda was covered at the latest town council meeting. We have your recap just ahead. Also coming up, our weekly segment, Library Learning. Take part in educational programs that will inspire you to do more. Those stories and much more ahead on ELCAT News Update. Thanks for tuning in to ELCAT News Update. I'm Rebecca Green. We begin the show celebrating the Big E's 100th birthday, and what better way to do so than with a cake? Peter Gray of East Longmeadow and owner of Peach Sweets on Shaker Road received the opportunity to create the Big E Centennial birthday cake a few months back. After weeks of anticipation and sneak peeks on their social media pages, Peach Sweets is now able to showcase their masterpiece to the public. Our ELCAT team checked in at the Big E Bash, the party that kicked off the fair's opening night. Gray and his staff members were able to reflect on their work of art as the other guests stood in awe. The cake included over 20 true-to-size food replicas, which included popcorn, fried dough, pretzels, ice cream, pizza, corn on the cob, and much more. Although no one is allowed to eat the cake, Gray says it's a feast for the eyes. Don't miss the chance to see the cake for yourself in the International Building at the Big E. The Big E is open until October 2nd. For more information on dates and times, head over to thebige.com. This month, we remember those who lost their lives during 9/11. The East Longmeadow Fire Department hosts a moving vigil every year. This year, Fire Chief Paul Morissette started the vigil by thanking two individuals for their special donations. Retired Building Inspector Dan Hellier donated an American flag that was flown in Afghanistan on September 11, 2004, while he was stationed there for the U.S. Navy. EL resident Edward Majowski donated a different type of flag, which contains the names of all those who lost their lives that day. The vigil included a blessing and prayers from guest speakers such as Fire Captain Ed McClandlish, State Senator Eric Lesser, Chief of Police Jeffrey DeLessio, and many more. The candlelight ceremony ended with a poem, prayer, and a song. A moving and emotional night for the town and our country. Redirecting the show to town meetings, we take a look at the latest town council meeting that was held on September 13th. The meeting began with a budget request from Acting Librarian Director Sharon Bellanoy, who explained that all public librarians in Massachusetts are able to participate in a state aid program. In order to receive these funds, the library must meet the statutory requirements of the program.
This time every year, the state requires the libraries to submit a financial report. I just started doing that. It is due in October 7th. And it became apparent that we do not meet our municipal appropriation requirement. The reason, I believe, is because when the previous director submitted the budget request for 2017, the salary for the new director that we are hoping to hire in November was decreased significantly. Well, that in addition to the fact that we had a couple other people retire, longtime employees, and our longevity pay request decreased. So all of that means that we're about $17,000 short of our municipal appropriation requirement that we need in order to be in compliance and
get to state funding.
And get our state funding, right, which we depend on every year. It's extremely important, and it would be a significant hardship if we did not receive our funding. We use it to pay for our library network membership fee, and so we do depend on it every year. So I'm here to ask the council if you would restore that $17,000 to the library budget so that we will meet the municipal appropriation requirement.
Bellanoy explains exactly how much the library will receive from the program, and Acting Town Manager Denise Menard shares what the funds will be used for.
The state says that we need a budget of $698,283, and the town appropriated $681,307. So we're about $17,000 short.
Exactly.
Yes,
so how much would we be receiving should we meet that criteria?
Well, in FY16, we received $31,000.
Okay.
We immediately used that to pay for our
Sure.
membership. in CW Mars. So you can see it's extremely important.
Certainly.
We talked about either putting it all under the other portion of the budget, or because they've had such a difficult time attracting a director candidate, that we're thinking, because
Salary.
that line had been reduced, to maybe put a portion of it in that salary line to be able to say to candidates that there might be some additional funding that could be available, you know, for a salary.
Make a motion that we appropriate the $17,000 funding requested by the library based on to be drawn from an account determined by the town accountant.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, the council discussed the petition signed by residents asking to switch the voting location for elections due to parking and traffic concerns. Talks about changing the election location to the high school have come into place. However, there are issues that follow.
You know, some of the issues, the biggest issue is the parking. And that's really one of the only issues Burstland Park has. The other issues are logistical issues. A day like we had last Thursday, it was 92 degrees and humid. There's no air conditioning at the high school gymnasium. You would have to close the gymnasium for a couple of days at the high school, which is tougher, that gymnasium with the 4 grades than it is at Birchland, there. Also logistics, where to store the voting equipment, meals for election workers, just, everything that we have at Birchland now that's set up fine. We'd have to try to, put all that together.
Prior to this meeting, the school committee also reviewed the petition and created a town election work group. The work group will weigh out the pros and cons of each possible location. The group consists of the town manager, police chief, town clerk, school superintendent, recreation director, and 1 school committee member. The group is scheduled to meet next week. The meeting moves on to the town manager's report. One topic in particular, creating a bylaw for breweries to open in town. Councilmember Donald Anderson explains how the bylaw would benefit the community.
This area is becoming, if you would, the brewery or microbrew equivalent of California. I mean, they have tours up in Vermont, they have all this kind of stuff. It's certainly something we have to be mindful of, because we can try to keep having our industrial park manufacturing, trying to make widgets, but perhaps the widget companies are few and far between. But if we have a bylaw that we control as a town, as opposed to an outsider coming in and says, here's the bylaw we want for you, as opposed to one that works for us. So if we allowed a brew pub, it would not only be in a particular zone, it would require a special permit. So there's that extra step involved. Or if we want to have a microbrewery or a brewery, that would have to be in the industrial or industrial garden zone. These are things to be discussed, but at least the town will have control. But imagine if we had in place a bylaw that's appropriate for our town. We could attract a business like that. We could get taxable properties, employees and so forth, being cognitive of the new economy that's working with the millennials. So anyway, what I was going to suggest is that we ask the planning board to at least consider drawing a draft bylaw about microbrews, breweries, nano breweries, the whole pattern, and see if that's something that the town would like to entertain as far as moving into the future.
More on the town manager's report, Menard provides a hiring update on town departments.
Police department, interviews were held by a panel consisting of the police chief, the acting town manager, sergeants that had done initial interviews with the candidates, and for a portion of the process, Councilman Kane. 4 candidates clearly rose to the top of the pool and are now in testing. 1 is currently an officer in another community, so will not have to do, I put testing, but it's really the academy. He's expected to start in early October, so that's a great find. Council on Aging, transportation coordinator was interviewed, and his first day of work was September 2nd, pending the successful background check, which, since I wrote that, he's passed, and he's a stellar candidate. He's a great guy. Social worker is out on leave, and Carolyn is looking to fill a limited number of hours per week to deal with the most urgent needs, not fill a full-time position.
On the topic of town boards, there are open positions to serve on the Board of Health. Applications are now being accepted for those interested. Before the government change, the Board of Health consisted of those who served on the Board of Selectmen. Under the new charter, the Board of Health will now be appointed by the town manager. The town is looking for 3 public health professionals for a 1, 2, or 3-year term. Health Director Amy Petrowski explains the importance of public health and provides information on what duties the positions consist of.
So public health is concerned with the health of a community as a whole and is more preventative than reactionary. So some examples of public health initiatives that have been instrumental over the last, 20 years are seatbelts, tobacco regulations, lead control, safer, healthier foods, and vaccinations. What the board members will do is enforce the state sanitary code and environmental code. So there are regulations that the state has put forth in Mass General laws that only the Board of Health can uphold. Also, they create new policies or regulations for our town.
Petrowski says the new process of appointing board members will better serve the community, as the town can now narrow down the search to those with public health experience. For those interested, submit a letter of interest and resume to the town manager's office, no later than September 30th. For more information, visit eastlongmeadowma.gov. Now it's time for our weekly segment, Library Learning, where we let you know what's happening at the East Long Meadow Public Library. First, the library is hosting an event just for students. With the first month of school, homework may be weighing you down, but that's not the only thing adding pressure. Heavy backpacks will also affect students' health. The East Long Meadow Public Library is celebrating Backpack Awareness Day. Occupational therapy students from Bay Path University will teach participants good carrying techniques. The event takes place on Wednesday, September 21st at 6 p.m. The next event is for those who are ready to fulfill their dreams and accomplish any life goals. AARP is hosting a Life Reimagined Checkup. AARP will provide inspirational tools for those wanting to take control and achieve the impossible. Find out your personal strengths and join the program on Monday, September 26th at 6 p.m. in the library community room. Registration is required. Looking for more things to do? St. Mark's Church is hosting a block party. All are welcome to join on Saturday, September 24th from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. at St. Mark's Church on 1 Porter Road. There will be 2 live bands, food, and of course, good company. Don't miss the fun event. For more information, visit stmarksma.org. Well, that will do it for this edition of ELCAT News Update. Be sure to watch meetings on demand at our ELCAT YouTube channel, ELCAT 01028. Follow us on Facebook and watch us on cable channel 191 and 193. For cable channel times, make sure to check out our ELCAT program guide, available at the Town Hall, Library, and Senior Center. Also check your mail as the programs will be delivered monthly within the reminder. Until next time, I'm Rebecca Green. Thanks for watching. See you next week.